Chapter 1978 Weak Water Abyss. Zhang Yi left the Death Highway. The fight between the two ghost leaders would never have an end. But now, he had lost the road ahead. Because what blocked his way was actually a vast ocean. An endless ocean so dark that it couldn't even reflect a single shadow. The end of the road came to an abrupt end at the seaside. Zhang Yi got off the motorcycle and instantly flew high into the sky to look into the distance. But when I looked around, there was only sea in all directions, and the road behind me had become blurry. It really was like a dream, and everything I passed would slowly disappear. How did it become like this again? Zhang Yi frowned. Just like before, could he have fallen into the new territory of the Phantom Territory again? Let's go to the other side of the sea. Maybe if we cross the sea, we can see a new road. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he planned to use the ability of space travel. However, at this moment, Yang Xinxin's voice suddenly sounded in his ears. "Brother, don't." Zhang Yi stopped moving instantly. "Xinxin, what's wrong? Did you find something?" Yang Xinxin emerged from the shadow into the outside world. Inside the shadow, Kant frowned slightly and followed her into the outside world. The others didn't understand what it meant, but they all came out and observed the surrounding scene closely. Yang Xinxin stood beside Zhang Yi, looking down at the black sea in front of her. The water was pitch black, without even a reflection. It was extremely strange. "Brother, I just thought of a legend." "Legend?" Zhang Yi suddenly became curious. Yang Xinxin had done in-depth research on classical literature and mythology, because Yang Xinxin had always believed that mythology and legends contain the secrets of ancient times. Kant and others also looked at Yang Xinxin, waiting for her to give an explanation. Yang Xinxin and Zhang Yi landed at the beach. She stood at the end of the road, lowered her head, and carefully observed the ocean. Then she picked a dead leaf from the roadside and put it into the water. After the leaf fell into the water, it sank without stopping for a moment. "It's really here." Yang Xinxin suddenly understood, and Zhang Yi just felt it was magical. "Xinxin, is there any legend about this place?" Yang Xinxin stood up, cautiously stepped back to Zhang Yi's side, and held his arm with her small hand. "The classic of mountains and seas says, 'To the north of Kunlun there is water, which is not strong enough to overcome a mustard seed, so it is called weak water.' Weak water is described as a barrier surrounding Kunlun fairyland, which is insurmountable even for a feather, symbolizing the separation between mortals and the divine realm." Zhou Kur immediately understood what he said. That is to say, if even a feather cannot float, then naturally the ship cannot pass through. Even light will be absorbed. This is simply a sealed area. When everyone heard the word seal, they understood. We are getting close to the place where Mammon is sealed. We're on the right track. That's great. For a moment, everyone was nervous and excited. Yang Xinxin said, "This is originally a sealed place, not a maze. It is not uncommon to cross the territory of the Phantom Territory and reach the sealed place of Mammon. In Greek mythology, the Titans were also sealed under the abyss. Perhaps the abyss and the deep sea mean the same thing." Zhang Yi looked at the dark ocean in front of him that seemed to have no end. This was the weak water abyss. That is to say, if we want to find the place where Mammon is sealed, we can actually reach it by crossing this weak water abyss. "Right?" Yang Xinxin said, "But this is exactly the problem I am most worried about." She stood beside Zhang Yi, her dark eyes staring across the sea. "Those who fly are not birds, and those who dive are not fish. War is not about soldiers, but about the game of nature. If this is really the weak water abyss, then it will be just as what is said in the ancient books. Even a startled wild goose cannot cross, and even a wild goose feather cannot float." Yang Xinxin looked at Zhang Yi. "Brother, this place cannot be navigated in the usual way. That's why I stopped you from going there directly." "Oh." Zhang Yi frowned slightly. "Is that so?" He looked back at the other companions and said, "Let's give it a try. Now that we have come this far, there is only one step left. We must not give up." Yang Xinshin has already verified that it is difficult for a wild goose to float, and the next step is to verify whether this area is impossible for a wild goose to cross. Lu Karen volunteered and raised his arm high. I'll do it. She trotted to Zhang Yi and Yang Xinshin, took out a miniature flying device from her body, and controlled it to fly directly towards the weak water abyss. As a result, the aircraft was able to fly stably at first, but when it flew over the weak water abyss, it suddenly lost control before it flew 5 meters away and staggered directly into the black weak water. Everyone watching this scene couldn't help but fall into silence. Zhang Yi was also somewhat thankful that he did not rush to fly over Ruoshui. Otherwise, he did not know what he would have experienced. Thinking of this, he decided that before doing anything next, he would first activate the ability of his left eye's second hand of time to make predictions. We can't sail by ship, nor can we fly across this area. How can we cross the sea? Zhou Kur raised her fair chin and asked this question. Fatty Su looked at Kant in the crowd and said, Mr. Kant, what do you think? Everyone's eyes fell on Kant. Kant is a little strange today. This important soul figure in the team is a core figure whom even Zhang Yi respects very much. It is rare that he did not express his opinion at such a critical moment. On weekdays, when we encounter difficult problems, he is often the one who offers important suggestions. Seeing this, Khan also crossed his arms and looked thoughtful. It might be okay if Odibio is here. He should know how to survive here. The rest of us don't know anything about this place. Kant looked up at Zhang Yi and said, perhaps we have 2 choices right now. First, we have to return the same way. The battle between the 2 ghost leaders will never end, so they should have no time to care about us. If we can find the ghost of Odibio, we can ask him how to cross the sea. Secondly, the coastline of Weak Water Abyss is very long. Perhaps if we search carefully nearby, we can find some clues. After listening to Kant's analysis, Zhang Yi frowned even deeper. Go back. This is not a good idea. It was so hard to leave that area, and it would be dangerous to go back. Because of Yang Xinshin's ability, even if she could control the Crow of Evil, she couldn't maintain it for too long. Chapter 1979 Weak Water Abyss 2. I believe that the Crow of Evil will regain consciousness soon. Moreover, in the Battle of the Phantom Territory, he might not be able to accurately find the undead spirit of Odibio. So Zhang Yi thinks the second option is more reliable. How about this? There are so many of us, all talented in various fields. Why don't we try first and rely on our own abilities to find a way to cross the sea? Zhang Yi said this for the sake of prudence. Kant nodded. You are the leader. Since you have decided this matter, everyone will naturally listen to you. In fact, Fatty Su and others had been eager to try it out and had ideas in mind that they were ready to implement. Although everyone regards Zhang Yi as the leader, everyone has his or her own ideas and desire to express himself or herself. If I could find a way to cross the sea at this time, I would definitely be able to improve my status in the eyes of everyone in the team. So, everyone started to work immediately. Hey, let me go first. Now is the time for me to show off all my years of hard training. Fat Su rolled up his sleeves and walked forward with a confident smile on his face. However, Zhang Yi grabbed his sleeve and looked at him warily. What do you want to do? Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Fatty Su was stunned for a moment. Boss, I'm trying to find a way to cross the sea. Why are you looking at me with such a weird expression? Don't look like that. It's as if you're looking at a bag of hazardous waste. Zhang Yi sighed and spoke into his ear in a voice that only the 2 of them could hear. Nothing. It's just that you mentioned years of hard training, which inevitably reminded me of the way you mutated back then. I'm a little worried. Fatty Su was struck by lightning in an instant. His eyes widened, his mouth opened wide, and he pointed at Zhang Yi. Master Lao, you can't be so mean. I, Su Chunlei, am a well-known figure no matter what. I don't need to show off my ancestral skills in front of so many people. Puff. Originally, no one knew what the 2 people were talking about, but Fatty Su got excited and shouted it out on the spot, and now everyone could hear it. Zhang Yi covered his face helplessly. I just want to remind you to think before you act. Don't embarrass yourself in public. After all, your boyfriend and girlfriend are watching. But you said it so directly. Liangyang has been following the crowd. She is by Yang Xinxin's side and is under Yang Xinxin's command and surveillance. Letting her follow was part of a plan by Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin. However, Liangyang did not show any disgust towards Fatty Sue's clumsy appearance. Instead, she smiled dotingly, as if she was looking at a cute child. Okay. Zhang Yi vaguely remembered a legend. The fat otaku in the eyes of ordinary people is, in the eyes of a special group, a pure little loli with a ponytail, a sailor suit, and white stockings. Sure enough, the prejudice in people's hearts is a mountain. Maybe the more silly Fatty Sue looks, the more Liangyang likes him. Shift. This world has really gone crazy. Zhang Yi waved his hands helplessly. Okay, you go ahead. Fatty Sue's face turned red, then blue, and then white, and he walked to the shore with a furious face. He leaned over and placed his right hand above the water on the shore. Then he took a deep breath. Eternal freeze. Blue cold air burst out from his body, released from his palms, and spread directly to the surface of the water. Zhang Yi watched quietly from the side, not holding out much hope at first. But soon, everyone's eyes showed an incredible look. The dark, weak water was actually frozen. Large areas of black ice appeared and extended rapidly from the shore to the front. Soon, a large area of ice covering hundreds of square meters condensed. There's something, Zhang Yi couldn't help but say. Uncle Yu nodded with satisfaction. Xiao Su has never slacked off under my supervision in the past few years, especially after receiving the sacrificial spirit you gave him. Zhang Yi, don't look at Chun Lei with old eyes. He is still working very hard. Oh, really? Zhang Yi looked at Fatty Sue's determined eyes and nodded slowly. It's not in vain that I've spent so many resources to train you. Before coming to Ipsilon, Fatty Sue's talent was not particularly outstanding. At most, he is at the same level as Bailey Chongqing, Xiao Honglian, and others. The reason why Zhang Yi invested a lot of resources in him is because his ability attribute is ice and snow, which is a unique ability. Furthermore, once one enters the realm of Ipsilon, one's abilities will be fully developed. Maybe Ipsilon was mediocre before, but after crossing that door, it underwent a transformation. Under the expectant gazes of everyone, Fatty Sue continued to use his abilities to expand the area of the ice. After a few minutes, Zhang Yi placed his hand on Fatty Sue's shoulder. Okay, take a break. It's all right, Lauda. I'm not tired yet. I can still continue to work. Fat Sue turned around and looked at Zhang Yi with an expression that said, work makes me happy. Hey. Zhang Yi sighed. Stop. At your speed, it will take me a long time to cross the sea. Fatty Sue was stunned for a moment, then raised his head and looked at the weak water abyss. He has now expanded the ice surface to a distance of nearly 1,000 meters. But compared to the vast and endless ocean, this speed is indeed too slow. You can't possibly expect to freeze the entire ocean, right? We have all seen your efforts. Take a break. Zhang Yi comforted. Zhou Kur also smiled gently and comforted. At least your method has achieved some effect, which is already very good. Fatty Sue fell to the ground, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said with all his might, what if there happens to be a need for such a piece of floating ice? Then my skills will come in handy. Liangyang came over and gently helped him up. You're already great, she smiled, and Fatty Sue suddenly felt that his half-day efforts were indeed effective. Zhang Yi couldn't help laughing and didn't tell him how funny he looked with his, but sticking out when he was bending over to freeze the seawater. Forget it. Give him some room. Maybe Fatty Sue will think he looks handsome. Lu Karen walked to the beach and scooped up a cup of weak water with a beaker. She came to the shore with the beaker. The dark water was opaque. She placed her hands on the wall of the beaker and activated her ability, Void Transformation. Her ability is to disintegrate and analyze all matter in the world to explore its composition. Believe in science. This is Lu Qian's belief. As long as it is a substance, He can analyze its essence and come up with corresponding means to crack it. A golden light appeared in her palm, seeping into the weak water and beginning to analyze. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.